endanger other people, unquote. So obviously, you think that President Trump is...
We need to have a brave group of people that are willing to come out and just shit their pants in public and be among the public and say that it's their God-given right to do so and that you can't regulate what comes out of another person's body where, and they can't make a law against it or do anything about it. Somebody needs to do this.
Wrong?
You know, I'm not sure that I agree with you. Actually, I'm sure I don't agree with you in terms of what President Trump said. You know, there's some confusion about that. I agree with you. Actually, I'm sure I don't agree with you in terms of what President Trump said. You know, there's some confusion about what we said. We're not taking vaccines away from anyone. What we said was that if you want them, God bless you. You can have as many as you want.
What a retarded way to talk about something too. Should I get the COVID vax? I was too lazy to get it when it first came out, but now I'm worried I will never be able to get it. I mean, if you had COVID before, it depends on, I guess, what it's like. I don't know how bad COVID is now if you get it. If it's better or worse, if it's worse than the flu or not. I mean, if you think you're traveling a bunch and you have a chance of getting sick, I mean, you might as well know. It's the same thing as getting a flu shot now.
And if you don't want them, parents should have the ability and the power to decide what goes into their children's bodies. It's that simple.
So as you know, the medical community really disagrees with your position in general. Your predecessor, former Florida Surgeon General Scott Ripke's criticized your plan. He warned that, quote, children in Florida will now be more at risk of vaccine-preventable illnesses than at any time in recent history.
True.
And he says it's not just Florida children that you are putting at risk, but you're also putting at risk the entire broader U.S. population. What's your response to him?
Yeah, so, you know, Dr. Ripke...
Oh, can you please do the thing where, well, if vaccines work, then why is it that you're at risk if you're vaccinated? Are you saying they don't work?
This was my predecessor here at the Department of Health, and you know, it's a great. There's a lot there, and I think first of all, it's important to remember that there are countries out there that don't have vaccine mandates for school. Sweden is an example of a country like that. The United Kingdom, I believe, is another example. I think that.
Not true. I just want to look this up. Sweden, vaccine mandates school. In Sweden, all vaccinations are voluntary. Children and adolescents are offered vaccinations against 11 diseases throughout the school and school healthcare services. Children who have missed vaccination or arrived in Sweden later than the scheduled time are of vaccination eligible for vaccinations. I wonder what the uptake is for vaccines, though. Coverage? In Sweden, all vaccinations are voluntary. Nevertheless, the Senate rates for the child vaccination program have been high for many years. Before the National Vaccination Register was established, vaccination coverage was assessed via an annual collection of vaccination statistics from all child health centers and from school health services across the country. Over 98% of children born in 2012 have been given at least 3 vaccine doses against diphtheria, tetanus, whooping cough, polio, and Haemophilus influenza type B, and over 97% of children were vaccinated with 3 doses of the pneumococcus vaccine. The percentage of children who have been vaccinated against measles, mumps, and rubella, MMR, amounted to 97.5%. Okay. So it's not mandatory here, but basically everybody does it. The thing that I don't like in the United States that's very annoying is when people... I think I said this before. Like Penn and Teller, like the old libertarians like 20 years ago would say something like, I don't think you should mandate vaccines because it's against our freedom. And then if you were to ask them, oh, well, are you vaccinated or are your children vaccinated? They would say, of course we're vaccinated. I'm not fucking retarded. But nowadays, people will say like, well, I don't think vaccines should be mandatory. You should have the right to choose them if you want. And it's like, oh, okay, well, what about you? Are you vaccinated? It's like, you know, I don't know how I feel about, you know, we didn't get all of them or we developed. It's like, okay, you're just an anti-vaxxer, but this is like your new kind of like cope excuse. What is the coverage of, I wonder what the coverage of like MMR vaccines today are in the United States. Percentage of children, USA, MMR vaccines. Percentage of US kindergartners with at least one MMR vaccine was 92.5%. And that's with it being mandatory? Because this is still mandatory, right? How is our coverage worse than Sweden when it's optional? Jesus Christ. Can I tell we're on the right side of vaccines? Yeah, I think we've watched that opening movie. Okay.
Denmark also. And guys, the sky is not falling over there. So the whole idea, I mean, do you not believe that parents are incapable of making decisions with the information that they receive from their pediatricians? Because either you don't believe that parents can make good decisions for their children, or the position just doesn't make sense.
Oh, do you feel the same way about trans healthcare for children then? That should be the next question. That's an easy follow-up. Oh, okay, sure. What about trans healthcare for children then?
Position just doesn't make sense.
I'm looking at this report from your department from April showing that more people in Florida are seeking religious exemptions for vaccines, and at the same time, Florida is seeing rising cases of hepatitis A and whooping cough and chickenpox. This is in your own report, your own department report. Before you made this decision to try to lift vaccine mandates for Florida, which
Make him address that. How do you feel about that?
include obviously public schools, did your department do any data analysis? Did you do any data projection of how many new cases of these diseases there will be in Florida once you remove vaccine mandates?
Absolutely. So absolutely not, because it's not you mentioned whooping cough there. So there's this conflation of the science and sort of what is the right and wrong thing to do. So scientifically, you mentioned whooping cough. So that's an example. This is part of the issue with informed consent. That's an example of a vaccine that is ineffective. The data show that it's ineffective at preventing transmission. So sort of mandates with that really don't have anything to do with the notion of transmission.
The way he's saying transmission here makes me think that it does reduce the amount of people who are hospitalized, and it probably reduces how long you have like a severe, like the length of time that you have the disease or whatever if you do get infected. That's my guess. Based on the way that he phrased that would be my guess there.
And then in terms of, like analysis, well, ultimately, this is an issue very clearly of parents' rights. So do I need to analyze whether it's appropriate for parents to be able to decide what goes into their children's bodies? I don't need to do an analysis on that.
So you're trying to lift the vaccine mandate in Florida, and your department and you did not even do a projection as to how this could impact public health. So you have not prepared hospitals in the Florida counties most at risk with the best treatments for any outbreaks of measles, mumps, rubella, whooping cough, polio, and you have not looked into how many kids might now get these preventable diseases. That's what you're saying?
No, that's what you said. What I'm saying is that it's an issue of right and wrong in terms of whether parents should be able to control, have ultimate authority over what happens to their kids' bodies.
Just to be clear, parents don't have ultimate authority over what happens to their kids' bodies. Like, we do force them to do some things, right? Like, if your kid is starving to death,